Hvernig markaðsgerð portúgalska eldsneytismarkaðarins?
We basically import either refined products or we import crude and refine it in one of the two refineries that operate in Portugal, one in the north and the other in the south. They are both operated by the incumbent, which is called Galp. Galp is one of the 4 oil companies that operate in Portugal. The other ones are Repsol, Cepsa, and BP. Primary storage facilities for imports of refined products are entirely controlled by those 4 oil companies I mentioned. And within those 4 companies, Galp is clearly the one that has the largest market share, with around 75 to 80% of the primary storage facilities. We have a highly concentrated distribution wholesaling activity on oil companies, and they also control 95% of the only pipeline system we have in Portugal. The retailing activity is less concentrated, okay? So those 4 oil companies control around 70% of the market, and the 4 supermarket brands have around 25, maybe a little bit more of the market share, okay? The remaining 5% belong to smaller independent operators.
Hafa komið upp samkeppnisleg vandamál á portúgalska eldsneytismarkaðnum?
Well, we identified bottlenecks upstream on import facilities and import capacity of refined products to wholesalers other than oil companies. Notably Galp, because Galp is the incumbent among the 4 oil companies, and it dominates storage capacity, especially in the south. Now, we also had competition concerns on retail sales along highways. Why? Because only oil company brands were operating along highways. We don't have a situation like in France, where you actually have hypermarkets operating as road fuel retailers along the highway. You basically have the 4 oil companies.
Hafa portúgölsk samkeppniseftirlit eða stjórnvöld gripið til einhverra aðgerða vegna þeirra vandamála sem upp hafa komið?
Now, we had a full liberalization of all road fuel prices as of January the 1st, 2004. Now, that liberalization was followed by a recommendation by the Portuguese Competition Authority on access to fuel markets and on the publication and transparency of fuel prices. Namely, we recommended that road fuels should be open to supermarkets and hypermarkets, because the idea was this was a way of increasing competition in the market, which did happen. Now, so the Portuguese Competition Authority not only encouraged the liberalization of the licensing legislation to permit hypermarkets to run their own gasoline and diesel stations, but also encouraged the publication of retail prices so that you could, for several years now, you can actually go to the site of the Directorate General for Energy and find the prices that are being charged every day in every petrol station in the country. It is true that that one of our recommendations from 2004, which were again issued in 2009, was the information panels on prices should be installed along highways, so that people could actually, check the prices that were charged by the different petrol stations and decide, where to fill their tank, obviously before they would reach that petrol station. So that has increased the transparency. We are giving more information to consumers. There was also the creation of the so-called national entity for fuel markets in December 2013, and this new entity is now monitoring the road fuel markets. And finally, last year we had a new decree law coming into force. Last year, 2015, in October, and this new decree law provides the first revision of a previous decree law from 2006, which established the principles presiding over the organization and functioning of the national petrol system. So, in a nutshell, what this new legislation has introduced is some new rules concerning access to storage facilities and other infrastructure, types of infrastructure that are sitting in the upstream, sitting upstream in the vertical chain. And that's quite important because we did identify some bottlenecks exactly in the upstream of these markets. I mean, infrastructures for importing, storage, and so forth. First of all, retail prices that are charged by the supermarkets and hypermarkets are consistently lower, up to 12 cents on a liter. Now, in part, this is explained because the running costs of the petrol stations ran by hypermarkets, those running costs are smaller. But also because hypermarkets, they want you to buy gasoline from them because that's also a way of inviting you into the area of the hypermarket, and apart from buying gasoline or diesel, you probably will also shop in that same supermarket or hypermarket. The other evidence that this has been working is the increase of the market share held by hypermarkets in the rolled fuel sector, which has gone up to 25% or even a little bit more. Oil companies have reacted to the entry of hypermarkets and supermarkets, okay? And what they now do, apart from you having a Fidelity card, they usually charge lower prices over the weekend than on weekdays, because it's over the weekend that people tend to go to hypermarkets, okay? So in this sense, that's another indication that competition is going on. There is competition going on between hypermarkets and oil companies.
Eldsneytismarkaðurinn framalega í forgangsröðun portúgalskra samkeppnisyfrvalda?
Now, we would say that since the inception of the Competition Authority in 2003, we have published several reports and newsletters on road fuel markets, including in-depth analysis of the Portuguese road fuel market, on the impact of the installation of these price information panels along the highways. We also started, back in 2004, the publication with information on prices, ran until the end of 2013. We also started back in 2009 a monthly publication, a very resumed, very short monthly publication with the main statistics on prices. These reports were basically a way of us to monitor and give the public some information on price evolution, from crude prices to retail prices, also on gas fuels as well. Now, because the new entity that is supposed to monitor the markets was created, since it was created in December 2013, we discontinued the publication of those monthly and quarterly reports, as the new entity started itself gathering and publishing information on the road fuel and so forth. Also, public pressure on fuel prices has significantly diminished in recent years, partly because crude oil prices have come down. That has meant also lower prices for road fuels. So we obviously keep being attentive to the market, but not as much as we used to. As I say, there is less pressure, and there is now an entity that monitors the market and has an expertise on that. The detection of possible antitrust conducts in these sectors, we believe it's better pursued with ex post analysis of particular complaints or leniency applications, more than through ex officio type of analysis. Yes, we do monitor the market, but new developments have taken place at the legislative level, as well as upstream in the vertical chain. And we believe that we'll be more successful if we have particular complaints or leniency applications than just by starting an ex officio type of analysis, because this is a particularly tough market to analyze, and what may seem as sort of some type of parallel conduct, well, that might very well happen, but that might also signify other types of behavior that are not what we would call antitrust type of behavior. So I think that's basically what we had to say concerning the Portuguese role of fuel market.